Recording is running. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Dallas Social Toastmasters, one of our first online meetings ever. We ran one test run. We learned a few things. In the process, I want to go through a few of the tips and tricks that we learned so that everybody knows how we're going to use this. Some of these are guidelines. Some of them I can't control. Some of them I can. I want to start off with, for those of you who might be interested in seeing an agenda, and I assume some of you might, if you go to the DallasSocialToastmasters.com site, the easiest way to get to our agenda at the moment is go to DallasSocialToastmasters.com. You see the members section here, the rightmost menu item. Click on that. Way down on the bottom right-hand corner is Club Flyers and Announcements. Click on that. And although there's a long list here, if you look for the lowercase a, these things are sorted and uppercase come first. The agenda is right here. It's a PDF file, and it will bring up tonight's agenda. The only change to the agenda at the moment, well, we have a couple, I guess, technically. Leaking is not here. We're going to dispense with the posture bell just because we can do without it for one night. Our counter is going to be done by John Vessels. And because I'm probably going to use polls, I'm going to end up being the vote counter. It's a long story, but if we do that, I can do them anonymously and get all the votes, and even I don't know who voted for who. I think that covers all of the changes and how to get to those. So I've actually got a printed copy for me. Let's go over a couple of other things. Real quickly, one of the first things that you will have noticed is that the link for the test meeting is the same as the link for this meeting. It turns out we're going to use a stable link that should work for all of them. That way, if you've got one, the meeting ID doesn't change, but from week to week. It will probably be easier that way to have it stable. So you've at least got it. If you find it in any of them, they should all work. We're going to use the same one. I have the ability to mute all of the speakers. Let's see. Maybe I should stop.
Yeah, is that normal? I'm viewing your screen. Oh, okay.
Well, because I was sharing it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, huh.
And then, in fact, I wonder if I can share that. I don't know that I can share that app at the same time. Can I? Show grid, active speaker.
I know. I think everybody should be on mute unless they're speaking.
Yeah. So that is one of the questions. I can mute everybody.
But
and that may be the best thing to do. However, I've got to leave the counter open as well if we're going to do clicks.
And then for the timer, I know it's whoever's speaking is going to be visible on there. Do you just want me to hold up the?
No, there's a way. There's a way. I'll cover that.
Oh, okay.
I will cover that.
Got it.
So what I will do once we get through this section is I will mute everybody except for whoever is speaking and the counter. There is a thing called the active speaker, and I don't know how to share that at the same time. Once I do share desktop, that window disappears. That's not a feature. Let me just go back. If you look at the picture where you see everybody in the grid up at the top, you have a couple of buttons on the right-hand side. You can either go to gallery view or full screen. Basically, if you go over, hang on one quick second. I've got Mary Desta with a message, so let me check her, see what she says.
Oh.
Okay, so no Mary Desta and no Joe Moore. Okay, just checking. If you go over any of the little smaller icons at the top, you will see two things, one of which is mute or unmute, and then a dot, dot, dot. If you click on the dot, 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 you will see pin video. If you pin video, that one is going to stay in the major window for you. That will override the active speaker. So you could actually pin a video on somebody who's not even speaking and they will stay there. So I will talk about how to use that in just a second. I don't have control over who you see or whether you see everybody. During the D50 meeting, there were some people who were watching the speaker. There were some people who had the gallery view so they could see the audience's reaction. That's a choice that you're going to have to make. However, if you are the speaker, please pin the timer so that you can see the timer. I know that you would really love to be able to see yourself, but please pin the timer so that you'll be able to see the red, green, and red, green, yellow cards. And as noted, they're not red, green, yellow, they are words. So English is fundamental. There we go. Thank you, visual aid. And that actually works better than you expect, because the other person on the D50 call got the cards so close that they all went dark anyway. You couldn't see the colors. You will also find, if you, I think, where is it? Manage participants. Okay, I don't have it, but maybe you do. If you do participants to list all of the people participating, do you have a raise hand button?
Let me check.
Because I don't.
I don't.
Typically there was mute.
Oh, participants. Here we go.
Yeah, it was basically text. It's not a picture.
I do have a raised hand that for you, Mark. Or no, actually for Mark Sims. I have a raised hand there.
Oh, you've got one
raised
there.
hand. There we go.
Hello, I'm here.
Ooh, we have Lee.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lee.
Hello.
If you have video, please turn it on.
Okay.
Well, if you want to, you don't have to.
Hold on. Where is trying to?
For me, it's lower left-hand corner. Start and stop video.
Up. Okay. I think I'm on.
Yes, you're on. Wonderful. All right. So because I'm Toastmaster, I need somebody else to kind of watch for things. I'm going to appoint Rob for that. Rob, if you would, please watch for raised hands. Please watch for the chat. And in general, if anybody has any problems, go to Rob unless Rob is speaking. If Rob's speaking, because he's the speaker tonight, you can come to me. We have had some people who have noticed that if they mute themselves, the sound goes bad. If that happens to you, just come back off mute. And when I say goes bad, it sounds metallic, tinny. All of the edges of words are messed up. We don't really understand why it happens sometimes on the D50 call and not others to certain people. When it comes to voting, what I'm planning on doing, I am going to try to do a poll for, we don't have voting for speaker and evaluator. It's just going to be for table topics. So I will put up the names with an anonymous poll. I will get the votes. And I think that's most of it. Rob, hopefully I will remember when you are the speaker, I'm going to give you a chance to check whether or not that you are where you need to be for the camera and adjust the camera before you get started. All right, that concludes all of the startup stuff. So let's go ahead and get to the duty holders. Nicholas, tell us what you're going to be doing as timer.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. As timer, I'll be helping the speakers to practice expressing a thought within a specific time. My duty is to time prepared speeches, table topic speeches, and speech evaluations during this meeting. The green card indicated here is qualifying time. The yellow card indicates target time. Sorry, it's backwards. And the red card, there we go, is maximum time. And you'll have 30 seconds to finish up when I show that card. For a 5 to 7 minute prepared speech, I'll show the green card at 5 minutes, the yellow card at 6 minutes, and the red card at 7 minutes. For evaluators, you have 2 to 3 minutes. The green card is shown at 2 minutes, the yellow card at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and the red card at 3 minutes. And you'll have 30 seconds to finish your speech, or your evaluation, excuse me. For table topics, each speaker is encouraged to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. I'll show the green card at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1 minute, 30 seconds, and the red card at 2 minutes. You'll then have 30 seconds to finish up your speech. For prepared speeches and evaluations, if you speak under time or over time by more than 30 seconds, you'll be disqualified and not eligible for an award. For table topics, if you speak under 1 minute or over 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll be disqualified and not eligible for an award either. I will report qualifying times when called upon throughout the meeting. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Our next duty holder is going to be the Arcanator, John Vessels. Tell us what you're going to be doing, John, and what sounds you'll be making.
Yo, okay, I don't know about what sounds I'm gonna make. I don't have a clicker, so we'll work through that.
Can you snap
But
your fingers?
anyway, no,
Okay.
I'm not good at snapping my fingers. Anyway, we'll work on that. So anyway, the on counter does this. He listens to all the speakers, listens for crutch words like ahs, so's, you know, things like that that are filler words that should not be being used. And as a Toastmaster, we work on getting rid of those things. And so tonight, I will listen for those. I will make notes. I will click when I figure out a way to make a racket. Otherwise, I will not do it during the prepared speech, but I will prepare a report and present it in the evaluation portion of the meeting. Can we go ahead and do grammarian?
Yes, please.
All right. Also, I'm the grammarian tonight, and the grammarian's job is to listen again. But this time, he's going to listen for good and bad uses of the English language, and I will make notes and present them at the end of the night. Also, I will be present the word of the day, and the word of the day is sanguine. Can y'all see that?
No.
Huh?
No, we do not.
Okay. Well, there's the word. Hang on. Now, can you see it? Nope.
Still not.
No, you can type it into the group chat if you want.
Not when I've gone to all this trouble. Now, can you
There
see
we
it?
go.
All right.
There you go.
Sanguine. Sanguine is an adjective. It means optimistically positive, especially in an apparently bad or difficult situation, which all our lives are now. So I will do that and present a report at the end of the meeting when called on by the general evaluator. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sean. The final duty, of course, is that of vote counter, which I will be performing just because of the way this utility works. What I hope to be able to do, I did get it polls enabled, but it hasn't been tried. It looks like I can select an anonymous box, type in our speakers, in particular for table topics, and let everybody vote, and then report on the results.
Mark, are we not doing posture monitor?
Actually, we weren't because you weren't here. We now have a posture monitor. Lee, tell us what you're going to be doing.
So my job this evening will be to watch for particularly good uses of body language and not so good uses of body language, and give a report at the end of the meeting, considering that we're pretty much looking at headshots. I don't know that I'll have much to report on, but we'll see how that goes.
All right, thank you, Lee. Actually, you may have an opportunity. I believe Rob is going to be stepping away from his computer far enough to give you at least waist up. We'll see. All right, with that concludes all of the duty holders' reports. We'll now move to the prepared speakers. I would recommend that everybody go find Rob. Which one are you going to use, Rob? Rob's iPhone? Which one do we need to pin?
So, are we pinning something?
Rob's phone.
Okay, so look in the set of speakers in the ribbon, find Rob's phone. If you click on it, put your cursor over it. If you click on the three dots, you can pin it. When you do that, that means Rob will be the only person you will see. Rob, make sure that you pin your timer. Do you need to do a camera check before you get started? Make sure your head is going to be in.
Yeah, I think that I'm good.
Rob, I have you pinned as well, so I think we're good.
All right. With that, we will go ahead and introduce our speaker. Our speaker tonight is Rob Giles. Rob will be doing a speech entitled Facts About Cats. Facts About Cats. Rob Giles, 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and We don't have any guests tonight, but if they pop in, perhaps they'll enjoy this. I want to introduce another word, ailurophile. Is anybody familiar with this word? Nobody? If you are, raise your hand.
Oh.
I am a ailurophile, a lover of cats. And cats have become a little bit more important to me over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now, because I myself got a cat that I not only take care of, but it sleeps with me, wakes me up when I don't want to wake up, all of those great things. Cats, to me, are incredibly interesting, very intriguing. From what I have read and found out, there are over 60 breeds of Felis catus. That's cats. And more specifically, Felis domesticus, which is domesticated cats. Over 60 breeds of them. Isn't that pretty amazing? Now, cats, where did they come from? Where did they start? Where did domesticated cats start from, I should say? A lot of people think of the pharaohs and the Egyptians having cats entombed with them when they were entombed after their death, because they held cats in a higher state than many others did. But that was around 2300 BC. But that wasn't the first time for domesticated cats. Domesticated cats actually was quite a ways back in 7500 BC. And they were found buried with presumably their owners, human remains as well, on an island called Cyprus. 7500 BC. Imagine that. Cats were domesticated way back then. I want to tell you about cats a little bit more tonight, and I hope that by the end, you may be a little bit closer to being, or actually being, an ailurophile. So cats, when they're born in a litter, or at least that's what I used to call it, a specific litter of cats is actually called something that we refer to for another object, something that we read from sometimes digitally, which is a Kindle. So a litter of cats, one litter of cats, is actually called a Kindle. So you can remember that it's not the digital reading platform, but it's a litter of cats, a Kindle. So when cats are born, they start to grow and they're playful, but they age differently than humans. Similar to dogs, I think a lot of you probably know that dogs age approximately 7 years for each human year. Cats are a little bit different than that. The first year, a cat ages 15 years. The second year, you can add on another 9 years. After the end of 2 years, they're 24 years old in human age. And then from there on, it's a little bit more consistent, about 4 years per human year. So if they live about 20 years, you're talking about approximately 96 human years. So if you have a cat, happen to have a cat that's 20 years old, or you know somebody who has a cat that's 20 years old, that cat is really about 96 years old. You're getting close to 100. And how do they do it? Well, I don't know a lot as far as factual how they are able to live so long, but one thing that I think might be is actually a few things. Is one, they sleep 12 to 16 hours every day. Now, that's a life that I would love to have. I could lay down and fall asleep at any moment.
What can I add for you?
But that's not the only thing.
Okay.
They groom themselves for 30 to 50% of the day. Now imagine that, 30 to 50%. You're talking about work, which is what, approximately 8 hours and then some, up to 12 hours of grooming. So maybe that cleanliness helps to bring them some longevity. One other thing that I thought about was possibly their purring. It is said that their purring, it's not only something that they do when they're content, it actually has other meanings. Sometimes it's when they're stressed out. Sometimes it's when they're hurting. Even when some cats are giving birth, they purr. But that's not the thing that I want to mention regarding the purring. The purring actually can sometimes, or it's thought, I should say, it's not an absolute fact, but some people think that it may help in their health, and specifically the density of their bones. So their purring helps to kind of regenerate themselves and actually build up their bones and the density of the bones. So I think that those three things can help them, and that's one of the reasons that they are able to live long. Now, what do I mean by long? Well, most cats, you're talking about probably 15, maybe up to 18 years. After that, it starts to get a little bit more thinned out as far as the cats that are enjoying that long life. But the longest or the oldest cat that's ever been, I guess, documented was one that's called Cream Puff. Cream Puff lived not only 20 years, not 25 years, not even 30 years, longer. Cream Puff lived for 38 years. Imagine that. Now, if you think about that as far as human years, it's not an exact duplicate of saying that, well, at 96 years times 2, almost, because those first 2 years aren't stuck in those last 10 years, or last 20 years, I should say. But that's a long time. You're talking probably 150 years or more in human age. It's pretty incredible. And that long lifespan can also help owners, because cat owners are known to have better blood pressure, lower risk for heart attacks, strokes, and cardiovascular disease, up to 30 to 40% lower than somebody without a cat. So it's beneficial. Cats are beneficial to us. They lower our stress. They are long living. They groom themselves in order to, I think, help them get to that point, along with purring. And they've been around forever, 7,500 BC. One thing that I want to ask you all before I close out here is, first, cats are the #2 pet in the United States. There's like 95 million cats that are owned in the United States. What do you think is the #1? I want you to go ahead and type into the chat the animal or the pet that you think is the #1 pet as far as popularity or the amount in the United States. And I think that you're going to find it surprising, because the #1, it's not dogs. It's freshwater fish. And some may say, well, that's not a pet. But I want to tell you this, that cats are for sure. And I hope that you're a little bit more of an ailurophile than you were before tonight. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I guess we'd always do this.
Hello?
So did we lose Mark?
I saw him talking.
He's muted.
It's been, it's,
I
it's
don't
just
know why you
muted.
muted. I don't know why you muted me. All right, have I been muted all that time?
All that time since Mark finished. I mean, since Rob finished his speech. Yes.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I didn't unmute all, and I did an unmute all, and it unmuted everybody but me. That was stupid. So, Rob, I was a little bit surprised to find that it was fish. Was it fish because when you have fish, you have 15 of them?
That I don't know, Mark. It probably is a big part of that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, one aquarium, if you set aquariums, then that number would probably be reduced significantly.
Okay. So for anybody that needs to, you will find that there's an unpin of the speaker typically up there in the upper left-hand corner if you move your cursor. You can also go back to the, not icon or avatar, but to the particular speaker box in the gallery view or whatever to be able to unmute the speaker if you prefer to do that. I'm going to try to leave everybody off mute for a little while if we can, because we're about to move into table topics, and it'll be a little bit dicey going back and forth with table topics. Our table topic master for the evening is going to be Dagan Newland. Take it away, Dagan.
All right, good evening. Welcome to Table Topics.
Good evening.
So before we get started, just a reminder, the time frame for Table Topics is 1 minute. You must hit 1 minute, and you have up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds to qualify. Also, again, as you can see, John's sharing a screen with the word of the day, which is sanguine. So you must also use the word of the day during Table Topics. So I tried to come up with some answers that kind of follow the theme. So my first question is going to go to Lee King. So in general, what are the best things you can do to stay healthy and it minimizes your chances of getting sick? Lee.
I think the main way to make sure and stay healthy is to just practice good hygiene, wash your hands, and stay home when you're sick. It always surprises me how many people will go to work if they're sneezing, coughing. I actually really hate it when someone says, when you're at work and they tell you that, oh, they're feeling sick today. I have to wonder, why are you putting us in possible danger or making us have to think sanguine in order to stay healthy? But I think the most important thing, after all of the research and literature out there, the easiest way to stay healthy is just simply washing your hands and making sure that you are washing your hands with good, warm, soapy water, and that you are getting a lather for at least 20 seconds. The old saying of singing happy birthday, or the ABCs, or twinkle, twinkle, little star, are all good ways to remember how long you should wash your hands. So as we move forward, if someone tells you that they're feeling sick, I would walk away and just think sanguine that you will continue to stay healthy. Back to you, Mr. Tabletop.
All right, thank you, Lee. So here's my next question. What does your family do to keep entertained, during this time period that, either whether you have to stay at home to work from home, or maybe you do have to go to work, but obviously, entertainment places out there are closed down. So what do you and your family do to stay entertained? Mark Schroeder.
Ooh, what do we do to stay entertained? I have to admit, I haven't really come up with anything that is very effective for keeping entertained. But part of my problem has been that I am a computer programmer, which means I spend a lot of my days at home anyway, working. Before all of this happened, I was getting questions from my management as to whether or not I could work from home. And the answer was, I'm at home now, so I suppose I can. It is unfortunate that I have that ability, because in some sense, because I have not gotten any real time off from that standpoint. There is no such thing as a snow day. I just continue to work. On the other hand, the one thing to be sanguine about is I still have a job. I have a lot of friends who are in the service industry, and they are sweating it. The anxiety that they have is through the roof at the moment. And that is making things much more difficult for them to figure out what they're going to be doing. So probably a little bit of just watching TV and cable and what have you. I have way too many hours of work still. And most recently, it's been all of the stuff related to the coronavirus and ordering thermometers online and learning how to make my own Purell. And in fact, buying a green screen in order to work well with Zoom. I hope that all of those activities settle down so that I can do something that may be just a little bit more fun. Mr. Table Topics Master.
All right. Thank you, Mark. My next question is, do you agree on how the different states are handling this new pandemic? And so, I mean, would you also do anything different? Don.
Yeah, I get the hard one. Okay, good evening, everybody. Do I agree on how the different states are handling the virus, and what would I do differently? Well, to be honest, I've only watched as much news as I have to, so I don't have an all-out anxiety attack, which I've never had before, but I could see one coming on in this situation. I know what's going on pretty well in California and New York, and to be honest, I think what we're doing here in Texas is a little bit late. I think the level of what's the word, caution, I suppose, is necessary. I think that we do need to be unbelievably careful. I just ran to a 95-year-old neighbor's house because I was afraid for her. I think we need to look out for each other. And I think those are the warnings that we're getting from other states and other countries, that it's coming whether you like it or not. I do agree, like I said, with what we are doing. I could do anything, if I could think up anything more to do in this sanguine situation, I would definitely do it. What I'm doing is staying home by myself or with my children or my parents just as much as possible. I'm trying to think of what we have, I guess, beyond an all-out shutdown like they have in New York. I think that's probably coming next, kind of preparing for that, like everybody else, getting the groceries that we need, but not hoarding. That's, I guess that's where I stand. I think that we're kind of doing what we need to do. Hopefully, one thing I read is that if you feel like you're overreacting, that's probably a good thing, and hopefully you are. So I think I wouldn't do anything different than what the governor is saying to do and what other states are doing. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
All right, thank you, Don. All right, my next question is going to be, what is the best way to prepare for a natural disaster? Rob.
What's the best way to prepare for a natural disaster? I would say, one, you got to be sure that you're calm. Once you're calm, then go about preparing as far as what you might need, as far as shelter, as far as protection, and that may mean what a lot of people don't want to even deal with, which is guns. Who knows? We've all seen the shows and the movies with the zombies attacking everybody, and having feasting on everybody. But I think that 1, staying calm first. 2, making sure that you have shelter, making sure that you're protected. And then I think probably after that is, once you've taken care of yourself, make sure your family is fine, make sure that your friends and the people around you, what Dawn had expressed, making sure that you care for those who maybe can't care for themselves. If you take care of all of those things, then I think that you can't have a sanguine attitude about it. And you can at least look to the future that what might be an apocalypse or a pandemic or something might actually turn out okay. So I would say overall, again, be calm, make sure that you have shelter, make sure that you are protected, look after yourself, your family, and then move on and look after those around you, especially those in need. Back to you, Mr. Topic Master.
All right, thank you, Rob. So that's going to conclude our portion of table topics. So, but first I need to ask, did everybody qualify on time?
Yes, everyone qualified on time, Mr. Table Topics Master.
All right, thank you. Did everybody use the word of the day?
Yes, Mr. Table Topics Master. Everyone used the word of the day.
All right, thank you. So I guess we need a vote for who you thought would do the best table topics, which will be between Rob Giles, Don Levy, Lee King, and Mark Schroeder. So, Mark,
I'm getting that up. Apparently it like disappeared on me. I had it partially typed in and it disappeared.
Well, I guess, yeah. So as soon as Mark can get that through, I guess we'll be able to vote.
Let me try.
Will we put this?
Will be interesting is whether or not it can be filled out on the fly or whether you actually got to have this preset. I don't know. We'll find out. One moment, please.
Or so just everybody send a chat to Nicholas.
We had 4 speakers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can get to it now.
But it won't be anonymous. It won't be anonymous because he'll know who sent it. But still.
Hey, Mark, how do you, I saw there's this icon for clapping, but when I click it, nothing happens.
Click it and let's see.
Like this, right? I mean, like do this. Oh, it's
Yeah,
just,
we everybody else sees it.
oh, okay, got it. Okay.
All right.
So Dagan, is this?
You should have a poll, table topics poll up. Are you seeing it?
Oh, see.
No.
Negative.
Yep. Yes. Oh no, I did not.
Well, it says attendees are now viewing questions. Nobody seeing it?
Not seeing anything.
Nope.
No.
I'm not seeing it. It could be in different spots for everybody.
Wait, what are we looking for? I thought we were just supposed to message Nicholas our vote.
Well, I was trying the anonymous poll to see if that worked.
Oh,
And if you
right.
click on polls at the bottom, you don't see it?
I don't see a thing that says polls.
I don't either.
I see invites, participants, share, chat, record,
Chat. There's chat.
show video.
It might be different if you're doing the web or the app and what you get to see.
Let me try
Wanna go through that?
relaunching it and seeing if
Oh, wait.
Here we go. It pulled
There we
up.
go.
Oh, it just
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
come up the first time. I stopped it and relaunched it.
Oh, cool.
All right.
I still don't see it.
It should just pop up.
Yeah, it popped right up in front.
Just a quick note, for those of you who are on twice, you do not get 2 votes. Sorry.
Yeah, right now I'm not getting any votes. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
So
It
not,
popped up for me, so I don't know if I touched something and it came up or what. But I voted.
Mine came up. I just voted. I don't know if
so
Oh,
a quick question on that then. The people who are not seeing it, what are you on? Are you on an iPad or something different?
No, I'm on an
Yeah,
iPad
I'm on an
and I
iPad.
got it.
Well, I'm on an iPad and I did not
And-
get it.
Okay.
Mark, this is Nicholas. Just for timing purposes, Rob did qualify on the table topics, but did not qualify for the prepared speech.
Okay.
I don't know if that
Yeah, I was
changed.
supposed to call on you. I'm sorry. That was my bad.
No worries.
Yeah, still no option for.
Still nothing? All right, go ahead and put them
Well,
in,
they're just all in the chat.
put them in a chat window to me.
Okay.
Mark.
Huh, do you?
Well, let's see.
Actually, hold on, Mark. Oh, it says privately. Never mind.
Well, it was originally going to be Mary and she's not here, so you just send them to me.
Okay.
Well, Mark, did you see our vote results for Lee and me that were able to vote?
I can't tell who did and who didn't. That's the problem.
Okay,
did-
we just saw like 2 votes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did you see 2 votes, 2
I
responses?
saw a total of 6, actually.
Oh,
So it's like the census, don't vote twice.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
I see Tanya's on.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hi.
All right.
Hi,
I,
Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah, no problem. Keep the votes coming in. Only seen 3 so far. Any more votes? I know I don't have votes from some of you.
For which one are we talking about?
Table topics?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since the poll did not work for everybody, I bailed on it.
What? Okay, wait, sorry, I totally got confused. So I sent my vote to Nicholas. Was that wrong? I'm supposed to send it to you?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry
I
about
sent
that.
my vote to Nicholas also. I'll send it to you, Mark.
It
Send
just
it to me.
on me. I
It was
didn't-
originally supposed to go to Mary Destin. She's not here.
Mark, did I send mine? I did send mine to you, correct?
I've got yours.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anybody else? If not, that will conclude our section for voting on table topics. We will start the general evaluation of the meeting. That's going to be Jody. Jody, please begin the general evaluation portion.
Hi. Thank you everyone for the meeting. And I think this is a really unprecedented situation, and I really appreciate everyone's dedication, and then for Mark and everybody's effort to setting this up. And obviously the meeting started with everybody trying to figure out how things work, but I think we still started on time, and then the meeting runs pretty smoothly, especially consider this is our first time running on the virtual space. And I like seeing everybody still having this positive attitude at home. And then I like the table topics because it's really really too suitable for this you know, the macroeconomic scenario. Yeah, thank you. I think that concludes my evaluation.
Duty holders.
With one exception, you need to call on Mark Sims to evaluate Rob's speech.
And the
Oh,
duty
okay.
holders.
And, well, and duty holders.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. All right. Okay, so Mark, could you evaluate Rob's speech?
Yes, I will be glad to. And this evaluation about facts about cats is going to be using the 3-2-1 method, where I'll discuss 3 things that I liked, 2 things I would recommend working on, and then 1 thing that I really, really liked. For starters, the speech topic found a welcome home with me. I like the forthright appeal about appreciating cats. There's actually a picture of me as a very young child resting my chin on a cat's raised back, and my mother and grandmother loved that picture. Also remember as a boy, both a book and then a movie called That Darn Cat. So it's also included in popular culture. Rob, I think the gestures were very expressive, even though we are somewhat limited in being able to really see gestures. Your arms were wide. At one point, when you were going to give a litany of points, you started off with 1. And overall, given the limitations, you did a good job at presenting good gestures. You also provided a very good summary of the health benefits of having cats. And maybe I'm somewhat hypocritical in this. I don't have a cat at this time, but you mentioned great reasons such as lowering the potential for a stroke, lowering the potential for a heart attack, lowering the stress level, which definitely in today's times is a good thing. I think there's a couple of ways you could have made the speech better. For starters, early on you introduced a very long word. I didn't exactly catch it. You actually had to bend over and pick up the sign and show it to us. And then later on you used a couple of Latin terms about cats. Honestly, I would not have focused on that somewhat esoteric terminology as much. And another thing I think you could have done differently to really, really help the speech is the structure. For example, that question that you had near the end of the speech, that would have been just a really amazing intro to start off discussing or get everyone involved by asking about America's favorite pets. And then the very good summary you gave on the benefits of cats would have been just an excellent way to end the speech. Now, to go beyond that, on what I really, really, really liked, the research was phenomenal. Talking about cats in Egypt, on the island of Cyprus, and then the funny story about Cream Puff the cat. So incredible research, and we really appreciated it. A very well-supported speech. And I'm a general evaluator.
Back to you, Jody. I don't know if you're on mute.
Yes, I'm on mute. Yes, I'm on mute. Okay. Thank you very much. And I think we want to call the grammarian to give a grammarian report and also timer report, right? The timer report first.
Timer report first.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Rob, in his very eloquent speech, unfortunately did not qualify on time. He was about 30 seconds over time. All of the table topic speakers did qualify on time. Lee qualified, Mark Schroeder qualified, Don qualified, and Rob qualified. We had Jody, you as the general evaluator did qualify on time. Mark Sims, evaluating Rob's speech, you did qualify on time as well. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. And next, let's have our grammarian to give a report. And I think,
Okay. That's me, John Vessels.
hey,
So, oh, there we go. Bad grammar. Let's start with grammarian's report. Had some good uses of the word sanguine today, but not really necessarily appropriate uses of English. Sanguine is optimistic, even in bad situations, and some of y'all were using it backwards, but just said the word. So well, I did like alarifial. That's an interesting word. Everybody else's grammar was well done. I didn't hear any really bad uses of the English language. Mark, one really might have been better than three, but that's, just a moot point, whatever. And so now probably let's go on to the all counters report, because that's me too. Nick, you had a nah at the very beginning and a couple of ahs when you were just talking about timing for everybody. Let me see. So for Mark Schroeder, Dawn, you had like 4 ums and an and that's it. Back to you, GE.
thank you. Hey, yeah, I think I also heard we have a poster. Do we still have the poster? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
So as far as posture, the only thing that I can really say is Rob did very well with setting up his environment and being able to effectively get a lot of hand gestures in a very small amount of space. He obviously had some time to set up his equipment so that he kind of had a stage area where most of us did not. But overall, I would have to say that I thought that everybody did a really good job. I did notice that for the most part, people did a good job of centering themselves up, and they were not stuck looking off to the side or anything like that, which can be distracting. I noticed the other day when I was watching a Skype, because someone was in quarantine, that depending on where their camera was placed, it always looked like they were looking off to the side or something like that. But I didn't notice that here. So that's all I have for my posture monitor report.
Thank you. That's very good report. I think I give my evaluation at the beginning instead of at the end because I was too excited for this virtual meeting. I think with that, I can turn this back to the Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you.
We did call for a vote for the big three.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
wow.
we need a vote for the big three.
It's a surprise. So the big three, let's call for the big three. The horse, we have another horse, cat, or dog, or anything.
So if everybody wants to just send their votes to me on the best of the big three, then I can count it because I'm not one of the big three.
So how do we do this now? I don't see a, how do we?
Just do a private message.
Okay.
Lee,
Yes,
is
just
that
do-
what you want?
Yeah, sure. If you voted yes, I don't know what yes means. Just FYI. And
So-
I don't think that. No, never mind. Yeah,
So
I just
what-
I
don't
think
know.
Mark's
Can you remind us
Mark.
which big three we're doing? Sorry.
Yeah, so that would be Mark Schroeder as Toastmaster, Dagan is Table Topics Master, and Jody is our General Evaluator for this evening.
Okay, thanks.
Mark.
Sorry for the long face.
Oh, no.
Who was getting those votes, by the way?
Lee.
Lee.
Lee. I am.
Anything else, or shall we just go ahead and close out the meeting?
I think we're good. I guess I can go ahead and do the officers.
Yeah, before you do, let me at least say thank you to everybody for participating. We understand that the first one or two of these are going to be a little bit rough as we learn how to use the tool more in a better way than we started off. Going through the training helped a lot. Going through the practice session, someone sent out that there was a Zoom introduction. I actually went to one of those. That's how I found the virtual backgrounds and found that you could pin video because I watched that. So there were some interesting topics that were covered in there that really did help.
Mhm.
I think as we go forward through the next few weeks, we'll get even better at this. But with that, I will let us go ahead. We can stop this and work on doing the business meeting.
Okay.
Great. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right. So just briefly for business, how does 7 o'clock work for everybody? I think tonight we moved things to 7 o'clock. Is that work better for everybody, or should we keep 6:45?
Well, we actually started
Was
10
it-
minutes
was-
late because we were getting people set up. We were on at 6:45.
Okay. But I think, yeah. So do we want to keep 6:45, or should we move to 7? I mean, do we want to like start the meeting at 6:45? I mean, at 6:45, or do we want to kind of have 6:45 for people to start getting on? And
I think 6:45 is good.
I did too.
Yeah, leave it there. It's what our time is always.
It's what people will expect if they go to the website. Otherwise, we've got to change everything. And
okay.
Yeah.
and from time to time, we will have to be a little lenient on starting a little late if we have people who are having trouble connecting. It just is. It is what it is.
Sure. Okay.
Until we get used to it. Maybe by the third or fourth meeting, we'll have it down.
Yes. All right. The other thing is that we'll be doing this obviously for the foreseeable future. So at least, I think we said 4 weeks, if I remember correctly. This would be week 1, so 3 more weeks minimally, but we don't know how much longer that's going to be extended. The district conference has been canceled, or the time has moved. It's now going to be June the 12th through the 13th at UTD. They said it's going to be a mini conference. I'm not really sure what to expect. I think we'll be getting more details on that later. And I believe that there's going to be some online virtual meeting for voting for district officers. It's my understanding that until June 1st, districts are not allowed to have meetings. District meetings. So I don't know if that means that for clubs we have to stay virtual until June or not, but nevertheless for right now. That's really everything I have. Does anybody else have anything?
I don't.
One comment, Lee. I just really can't explain how exceptional this meeting was. I mean, I'm just so impressed because the alternative was just forget about it. This worked exceptionally well.
I agree.
Yeah, I tend to agree. For what it's worth, part of what made the speech work so well for anybody who wants to try to do it, the webcams are great, but you got to be able to get far enough back. Rob was able to do it using his phone. He's actually got an Android. I've checked out the same sort of thing on an iPhone. Color rendition is great, and you can usually get far enough back. You do have to be really careful if you get 2 devices on that they hear each other, because if they start hearing each other, we get horrible squeals. And he had to be very careful to make sure his mic stayed muted, at least on one of them. That is also an issue for me if I do an unmute all, because I think I actually would have the ability to unmute them all and start a problem. So, but it is something that you can keep in mind because it does definitely help when you are able to see beyond just the headshot.
And I echo that point. I can't believe that it's just simply by seeing everyone, it just gives me so much joy. And so I really want to thank everybody who made this possible. Thank you.
I'd like to thanks.
Thanks,
I'd like to
Jody.
say a few things about, with me speaking and looking further back, one of the things that Mark, when we were doing our test run, I can't remember, I want to say it was Monday, I guess.
Yeah, it was Monday.
But he had suggested, at least with the phone, is to turn it on its side for landscape mode so you can get a little bit wider picture and you get to show a little bit more. I think that, Nicholas, I think you were using, or you are using your phone, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you have it vertical though, right?
Mm-hmm. It's actually
so you
perched.
can see the difference. You can see the difference between how my screen appears as opposed to Nicholas's. So if you're speaking, then being in landscape mode, if you have a phone or even probably a tablet, that it probably is going to work a little bit better for you if you do that. One other thing that I did decide to do, and it was kind of impromptu, was I actually put an earbud in for hearing everybody as opposed to having a speaker come out, you know, and possibly have some reverberation or some echo as well. So I think probably if you can do something like that, you know, if you have a Bluetooth speaker that you can use or earbud that you can use or headphone or whatever, that as long as it's not distracting, then I think that might be a way to go if you're going to be actually giving a speech. So that way you don't have any extra incoming sounds that are echoing through what you're doing.
Rob, what's an earbud?
Bud, B-U-D.
I know.
Airbud.
I kept hearing an earbud. What's an earbud?
Not their butt, an earbud.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Rob's comment about the landscape versus portrait. The one thing that we noticed when he was doing his speech in portrait mode was when he would raise his hands out, his hands would disappear. And, you know, cut off probably not quite at the elbow, but certainly during the forearm. When he raised it, when it went the other direction, he could do much broader gestures and still see everything.
Hey, Rob, there's no shame in having a hearing aid.
And Mark,
go ahead.
Mark, I have a question for you. What are you using for your backdrop? Is that something through Zoom or something?
That is a virtual backdrop. Let me show you where that is.
I did try that, but for me it come out like this. It's like weird. I don't know why.
It's going to depend upon the settings you have. Let me go through the settings. I'll show you where it is real quick.
I saw it. Yeah, but I can't explain why for me it come out like this.
It could be how you have your settings. Yeah. Probably how you have your settings. So here's the show.
I couldn't share anything.
When you're in the client, it's here called virtual background.
Yes.
There are a couple of things down here. If you say to mirror the video, it reverses it. But if you say you have a green screen, you have to have a green screen because otherwise it's going to do, well, actually, no, that lost everything. But you can just easily change from one background to another, put yourself wherever you want to. Where's the fish tank? I've got a fish tank here that I brought in.
Yeah, but when I do it, it just came out that one funny.
There we go.
You can see my funny.
Well, so Jody, check and see if you have the I have a green screen.
Yeah, I have it on actually.
Turn it off. Turn that off.
Oh, turn that off?
If you don't have if you do not have a green screen behind you, turn it off.
I tried, but it's even worse. It says computer doesn't meet the requirements.
Computer doesn't meet the requirements?
So if I turn it off, it doesn't allow me to use Zoom at all. It says your computer doesn't meet the minimum requirement to use this feature without a green screen background.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a surprise.
Yeah,
mine lets me do it both ways.
So I have.
There you are. Oh, but that's completely off. Interesting.
Mark, how do you even get to that screen where you are, where it says setting general video audio?
So this was in the client that gets loaded up to run. It was settings, virtual background.
Okay, so that's like once you upload or download or whatever, Zoom.
Well, for sure you can do this to add files that you want. There's a handful that are in there to start with.
Okay.
That one's in there all the way through, let's see.
Oh, yeah.
This one is already in there.
Ah,
Everything else is extra.
but it's on beat.
Oh, so if you didn't download Zoom, you're just going through the website. I guess you don't have that option then. I guess you have to download Zoom onto your computer.
Well, it should start. Did you guys not get this client started?
I don't have all the default background. I only have a black screen, so I uploaded some pictures.
Okay. Well, you could use, do you have a plus sign to add some more?
Pictures? Yeah, this is the picture I have, but then you can't see my face.
We can't see your face. Yeah.
Like, oh, and then this one, like a ghost.
Yeah. We see bits and pieces of you moving, but that's
Yeah,
it.
that's Yellowstone. These are the picture I uploaded though. It's not.
Well, if I have a green screen. Yeah, without the green screen, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Oh, I see.
I kind of liked that one. The one thing that I noticed is I did very well. I have blonde hair. If I have something that is a little bit too blonde around the hairline, it gets really, really bad. This one worked well because it's mostly dark. And a dark purple went okay. And even darker purple was even better. I could put an A-bomb behind me.
If people try makeup, you try background.
Yeah, I pulled a whole bunch of them to see what would work best. And ultimately, I decided that was the one that looked like it was actually a house.
You have more choices than some of us. How'd you get so many choices?
There's a web page that I pulled them from, and then you just click the plus and add image.
Oh.
And so I could select anything from any directory on my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the Dallas skyline behind me right now.
Yeah.
Ah,
As a
Yeah.
for instance.
Nice.
are they all default pictures or you have to upload them?
Well, these were all that I pulled. I wonder if I still have the web page open. Let me see if I do.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, I just uploaded these, but it doesn't work at all.
Keep going. Yeah, for instance, I just pulled, scroll all the way back. I just went to something that had office images. Some of these are the ones that I pulled.
Mhm.
And there was another page. Looks like I closed the other page, but there was another one that was Zoom backgrounds 19 best free.
Hey, look how cool.
And you'll notice these are the ones that I had in there. Some of these are the ones. So I just
Get
downloaded.
all excited.
I did not pick a vertical one, a portrait one. I picked the landscape ones. That's the landscape one. So I just downloaded a copy of that, and there it is.
Can I please get some props here? Anybody? Rob, I know you will. Look. Okay, clearly I think this is way cooler than anybody
There
else.
you go.
Well done.
That works.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because that's yours, right? That's your own.
Yeah, I did what Mark said, and I just went to my desktop and I pulled my pictures of my kids.
Nice.
They wouldn't like that, but I did.
Yeah, the only thing that's weird is when they're standing there for 15 minutes during the speech and not moving.
Yeah. Well, no, this is just for now. I'll move them. But
I
here.
know, I know.
They're very sanguine.
The thing that is interesting is, although you would have to probably pay for one, you can actually download a video and it'll run the video behind you. So it'll make
Oh, how
it
cool.
look like you're on the street or something.
Very cool. Oh, yeah, it does say add video. This is quite the tutorial.
All right, anything else, guys? Are we ready to at least stop the recording? We can keep talking about other issues.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right,
Are
I'm
you
gonna
gonna-
go ahead and stop the recording at least.
Yeah, are you going to put the recording up